Here we're asked to divide two polynomials. To do that, we're going to do some long division. Before we do that division of the polynomials, I think it might be useful to recall how we do long division with regular numbers. So to do this long division, what we do is we look at this number and we ignore some of it. We just look at the highest bits, the 4 and the 1, the hundreds and the tens place, and we say how many times does 6 go into 41? And we say, 6 times 6 is 36. That's less than 41, so 6 went into 41 6 times. A little bit left over. How much left over? Well, we subtract to find out how much. That much left over. We bring down our 4. Then again, we say, how many times does 6 go into this thing? How many times does 6 go into 54? And we realize, it goes in 9 times because 6 times 9 is exactly equal to 54. How much is left over? Why, nothing. So 6 goes into 414 69 times. We're going to do the same sort of thing here with the polynomials. All right. And so to do that, I want to write this bit, this first one, underneath my bars. And I'm going to write it the same sort of way here. Here, we had the biggest bits, the next biggest bits, the next biggest bits, hundreds, tens, ones. Here, I want to put the biggest bits first, the x cubes. Then my next biggest bits, the x's, negative 13 of them. And then finally my constants. And now I'll write this thing over here, 3x plus 1. And then I'll do the same thing I did here. I just looked at the biggest parts of it. I'm just going to look at the biggest parts of it. I'm going to say, how many times does just the biggest parts of this one, 3x, go into 9x cubed? Or another way to ask that is, what do I have to multiply 3x by to equal 9x cubed? Well, 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. And x squared times x is x cubed. So 3x squared is what we need to multiply 3x by to equal 9x cubed. Sorry. And we also need to multiply the 3x squared by 1. Right, so that's the same as we found our answer, the first part of our answer, multiplied, wrote something down, wrote something down. Right, now we want to subtract. To subtract, I'm going to change signs on things and add. 9x cubed minus 9x cubed is 0. That's what we wanted. 13x negative 3x squared. Well, those don't have like terms, so we just have to write negative 3x squared minus 13x. We don't need to bring down the minus 4 yet, so we'll wait another step. We ask, how many times does 3x go into negative 3x squared? Just looking at the biggest parts again, the highest powers of x. Well, 3, you need to use a 1. Multiply x by an x to get an x squared. This one is a negative though, so let's use a negative x. Negative x times 3x is negative 3x squared, so we get the same thing we had there. Negative x times 1 is negative x. Let's subtract. I'll subtract by changing signs on this guy and adding. These two things add to 0. Negative 13x plus x is a negative 12x. Now let's go ahead and bring down that 4, so minus 4. And now we'll say, how many times does 3x go into negative 12x, or what do I have to multiply 3x by to equal negative 12x? Of course, the answer to that is minus 4, because minus 4 times 3x, kind of ran out of room here, but minus 4 times 3x is a negative 12x, and minus 4 times 1 is a minus 4. So when I take this thing and subtract this thing, which I'll subtract by changing the signs and adding, negative 12x plus 12x, those add to 0, minus 4 plus 4, those add to 0, so the subtraction results me with a 0, just like we had here. So here is my final answer.